I remember sitting on the seat of a tractor when I was probably 4 years old, because I remember that it was a big event when they brought the little Ford 80 in 1952, and it was just amazing. It was such a big piece of equipment or machinery. Now it wouldn't. You could hide it behind one of these big tractor tires. My job as small boy, so to speak, 7, 8, 6, 7 years old, was to take him ice water to the field. Mama would fix it and wrap newspaper around and tie a string, and I would take it and set it in the road. And I remember I was probably 4 or 5, because I remember when I was 5, I was driving that 80N myself. I was too small. I had to stand up and take the steering wheel and push myself down on the clutch to stop it. But I could operate it. The mule had a mind of its own, so to speak. Now, a good mule, farmers used to trade mules like we trade by equipment every year. If the place here in Mochi, which is Holman Mule Barn, would get on a shipment of mules from Tennessee, and farmers would go by there, and I remember going with my father, who was a small boy, and pick out the mules. This one had this right gait, so to speak. This one was temperament. And you traded mules like you did tractors and equipment. And mules were expensive. I remember my father saying he paid $1,000 or $1,200 for a mule. And that was big money back then. And of course, the first tractor and all its equipment on the 80N was only $1,700 or $1,800. That's a tractor, the harrow, the little disc plow, and the set of planters. Now that wouldn't even touch it. That wouldn't pay the interest on the note for 3 months for what things cost now. When the mule automatically knew when dinner time was, and they remembered when quitting time, because they would get to the end of the road and wouldn't turn and go back the other direction, because it was all but dark 30. I reckon it went by daylight hours, so to speak. I had a pet donkey, and I remember I always wanted a horse, but Daddy couldn't afford one at that time, so he bought me a big old Jack, and he was a pet. I mean, he and I were like two brothers. I remember him coming, because we didn't have, where I slept in the old house, didn't have screens on the windows. And he would get out of the pen and at daylight, and he'd come stick his head in the window and go to braying. But I would ride him, didn't have a saddle, and had a switch, and I would tap him on the rear end, and he and I would go all over this farm.